Chrissy says it, so you don't have to. Welcome. What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Chrissy. I'm back with another video. And today we are going to talk about the terrible year WWE has had. Now, I am recording this before SmackDown, but I'm still confident that whatever I say is going to lead in to the atrocity that SmackDown more than likely is going to be. So I don't watch SmackDown like that. I watch the highlights, but under no circumstances can I watch the full show personally. But I wanted to talk to you guys about how bad the year's been. Why WWE is struggling so much like it's been doing. And it's not one specific thing or like one specific person. It's a plethora of things. The number one thing that is the problem with WWE today is lack of storylines for, I would say, for the other talent that's considered top of the card, main event. Normally, what's happening is you have one story that is pretty much the center, and then everybody else is getting little sprinkles of a little something. The tag team division is struggling. The women's division to me is struggling. Certain titles aren't being defended at these PLEs, so they just look like they really don't matter. Triple H going on podcasts, talking about how we're going to have an epic Raw, how it's going to be an epic PLE. Oh, expect surprises, and then nothing ends up happening. It's just so much. And the number one thing I wanted to talk about too is how Triple H is trying so hard, and even some WWE superstars are trying so hard to discredit content creators who review wrestling. We are looked at as our opinions don't matter, oh, it's just smoke. And to be honest, the problem is WWE is getting heavily critiqued, heavily. And the issue is they don't like that. But if you kind of think about it, we force everything. Any movement that has taken place in an arena or a stadium starts online and it goes to the arena. So for them to sit up and say, content creators or people who's talking about wrestling don't really matter when our opinions are pretty much everything. If you actually listen to what people are saying, maybe the product will be better. Because personally, especially Triple H, I'm sure don't like being talked about every day or talking about how bad something is, because something could look good on paper, but when you actually do it, maybe it didn't translate the way that you guys thought. Triple H has spent this whole year still not getting his lightning in a bottle. First, we thought it was going to be the Vision. I do think it was exciting when Seth did his rules. We had a few exciting things, John Cena getting his never seen 17. He finally got that 17th title reign. But other than that, it just really hasn't been exciting. People are tuning off. They're not watching. To me, it just seemed like WWE is morphing into something that even I don't recognize. The product is not interesting. If they, and another thing, before I go into that, the wrestlers are soft. Triple H more than anybody should know, you have to have a formidable heel. Him above all people should understand that. And with how he's booking this show, it's kind of like he don't recognize what he needs or something when you know what you need. WWE is so focused on making money that they will keep somebody in that top spot when maybe they do need to turn heel. Hence Cody, hence Jey Uso. Jey Uso prints money for WWE. No matter who dislikes him, who don't like him, who's getting tired of him, either way, he prints money. Jey should have went heel months ago. If you ask me, should have went heel months ago. Triple H drags out certain things that do not need to be dragged out. Certain people can benefit from long-term storytelling and some people will not. It's like he's not grasping that concept. You're keeping Cody in this position that he's in and it's not working. This is a part of why the product has been failing for so long. You have these WWE superstars who are technically good guys looking like they're soft. Nobody is getting their get back. It's not giving you something to want to tune into each week. We're seeing the same thing. We're seeing the same matches. Tag team division is suffering. I think AJ Styles and Dragon Lee oh my goodness, I do think they're lighting a fire in the tag team division, but they're not giving any tag team really credible stories. The Usos tag team title reign wasn't great because they held on to it for so long. They had story to go along with their title reign, their epic feud with the New Day. They entangled with the Street Profits. If you were a tag team on that roster while the Usos had those belts, more than likely you was entangled with them for a while before they moved on to something else. You don't have that now. Everybody just look like they are just showing up, showing up, looking at a script and then doing whatever they're telling you to do. The women's division, another thing. Tiffany Stratton, some people were not impressed with her title reign. Jade is going to have a similar title reign because nobody is in the title picture right now. Everybody is either in the mid title reign, and some people just not even being considered for any belt right now for the women, which makes people title reigns lackluster, or we're seeing the same thing. Chelsea interchanging with the same people, Jay just getting thrown scraps from people, go out there, fight her for a little bit. But it's just WWE altogether is not doing well. And they're blaming it on us. They're blaming it on the fans. They're blaming it on everybody else except them. They are the ones who produce this product. And this is what we have to look at. I do feel like Braun Breaker to me is giving me big dog vibes. They're forcing this shit down our throats. I know some people have high hopes for Braun Breaker. A lot of people like him. He's a good mix, you could say, between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. But at the same time, I'm still not really that impressed by him. I'm just not, me personally. Not saying I don't like him, just not impressed. Especially when you have somebody like Carmelo Hayes, to me, who is, to me, in my opinion, don't chew me up, is better than Braun Breaker. He's on SmackDown getting scraps right now. He's not even on the same level as Braun Breaker, and they're in the same NXT class. But Braun Breaker is shooting off to the moon. Why? Because Triple H wills the power, and that's what he wants. So I do feel like, next year they have to make some drastic changes if they want to keep people around, because I used to look forward to watching Raw and SmackDown. I don't look forward to watching either show because it's not interesting. For them to introduce a masked man as Survivor Series and then not capitalize off that the next day, they're going to drag this out probably till Braun Breakers and CM Punk's match. You can just tell everything is predictable, because if you're Cody Rhodes, it's going to take a special person to take that belt off of him. Anybody just is not going to challenge him. So there are no room for surprises. Cody doesn't have anybody that was his Roman. Cody don't have anybody who is him, maybe going after something, because they're not going to take the belt off him unless you're Roman, unless you're Randy, and I'll even say, hell, maybe even Brock Lesnar. But if you are not one of those three people, that belt will stay on Cody. So it's not leaving room for any future storytelling. I talked about this previously. Cody is suffering from not having that formidable heel because creative is not giving him that. Creative is not taking a chance maybe on a guy like Melo, like they're doing with Braun Breaker, some fresh matches. Even if Melo don't win, give them 3 matches, see what he does, put him in that position. They're not doing that. They did it for Drew McIntyre, and look how that panned out for him. Drew McIntyre might as well go on back over to Raw. He have a better chance of getting a World Heavyweight title than this WWE Championship. So WWE is in a repetitive cycle right now. So after WrestleMania of next year, because it restarts everything, they need to start creating new storylines. Braun Breaker is a new star. They're putting the spotlight on him, but there are other talent that they could also be focusing on. WWE to me is just mid and it's boring. They peaked with Roman and Cody. They have not been able to capture that again. That is one of their problems. They have not been able to capture that excitement, the storytelling, no more after that. And that was something that Vince started. and Triple H finished it. So what really has Triple H done that has sparked that excitement to want you to keep coming back week after week and watching this product? Absolutely nothing. If the product is good, it's good. And if it's bad, it's bad. But I do think that they peaked at that moment and they will never be like that again for a while. And that says a lot. Triple H should be able to repeat that more times than I can even count, because that should be easy for him. Pick two people that you think is possibly next up to and give them a credible storyline with each other. Rocky Austin, Rocky Triple H, Undertaker and Randy Orton, Batista and Triple H. Whoever is next up goes against the person who's already there. But it was never just Undertaker. It was never just The Rock. You have so many guys in rotation, and they don't do that now. WWE is all about money. You got Nick Khan going on podcasts talking about what wrestlers are making, or if you're at a certain spot, you're rich. And then if you're not there, you're just going to be living a good life. Like, what is wrong? Like, why are you guys talking about wrestler salaries? But this is what this company is coming to. It's a money grab. Personally, I think TKO is going to drain WWE, take whatever it can from it, and maybe in 10 years or so, maybe they're going to sell the company. They're already $10 billion in debt. They're stretching themselves too thin. They didn't need the deal with ESPN. They didn't need the deal with Netflix. They could have just stayed on USA. But they're trying to come off like they're this just premier company when people already know that. The network don't make WWE. WWE is fine without ESPN. They're fine without Netflix. But it's a money grab. And as long as this company is focusing on just money, this is what we're going to be getting. A dry ass product with high ass prices. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think WWE is just, they're not ever going to get back to where they was, or they possibly can? Or do you think they're not having such a bad year? Y'all let me know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will check you guys later. Chrissy says it, so you don't have to. Toodles.